If you're planning a renovation, listen up. The most important thing you can do, the one thing that can save you from a complete project disaster, isn't swinging the sledgehammer. Nope, it's getting a perfect plan of your space before you even think about starting. And we're going to show you exactly how the pros do it.
I mean, this is the classic renovation nightmare, right? You've got these beautiful, perfect plans on your computer, but then you get to the job site and they just don't match up with the actual building. So what really happens when that gap between the plan and the reality shows up? Well, the fallout is pretty brutal, and it happens fast. Work just stops. Custom-ordered materials suddenly don't fit. And before you know it, everybody is blaming everybody else. It's this cascade of problems that can absolutely destroy your budget, your timeline, and honestly, your sanity. But there is a professional system designed to stop this from ever happening.
Okay, so the solution starts with something called measured drawings. And to get this right, you have to understand what they are, but maybe even more importantly, what they are not.
This is the absolute first rule of managing your risk. Think of these plans as a really accurate snapshot of what you can physically see and touch. They are not an X-ray. They can't see the plumbing or the wiring or that weird structural beam that's hiding behind the drywall. So, how does this all start? It's actually pretty old school, but super precise. It begins on-site with things like steel tape measures, laser measures, and a really detailed field notebook. This is that very first moment where the digital plan begins its life in physical reality. And that journey from a scribbled notebook to a professional plan is really systematic. First, you've got to capture all that raw data on site. Then, you take those sketches and translate them into a digital format. And finally, you clean everything up and refine it into professional, easy-to-read drawings.
And you can see that transformation right here. On the left, that's the raw field sketch. It's got the info, but it's not to scale. But on the right, that's the final product, a precise, perfectly scaled floor plan made in professional software. That is a massive leap in accuracy and usability. Now, here's a really crucial little detail. Those plans get a label, Design Intent. Think of it as a disclaimer. It's basically saying, hey, this is a super accurate map of the building as it is now, but it is not a legally certified structural analysis. And that little label is what sets up the next critical layer of protection. So, if those first drawings only show what's visible, how in the world do you deal with everything you can't see? Well, this is where something called the VIF safety net comes in. It's a really elegant solution to the problem of the great unknown.
Right? This is the question that keeps people up at night. What about the pipes that aren't where the old plans say they are? What about that hidden beam inside a wall you want to tear down? How do you possibly account for all that stuff you can't see?
The answer is a tiny but really powerful acronym, VIF. It stands for Verify in Field. It's just a little note on the drawings that's a direct command to the builder. It says, look, this drawing is accurate, but you need to double-check this critical dimension on the actual site before you build anything or order expensive materials. It's a simple little communication tool that works as a powerful safety net.
And what VIF does is save you a world of hurt. It stops that disaster scenario where thousands of dollars in custom cabinets show up and they don't fit. It clearly puts the responsibility on the contractor to check the real-world conditions. And it does something really smart. It reframes surprises. There are no longer errors on the plan. They're field condition discoveries that you can just manage. This quote just nails the whole idea behind VIF. You can have the most precise digital drawing in the world, but reality always wins. The physical job site is the ultimate source of truth, and VIF is the rule that makes sure the whole team respects that. Okay, so we've covered what's visible and what's hidden. But there is one last absolutely crucial layer of quality control. This is the formal, legal verification that makes a plan truly ready for construction. It's called the red line review. This is where those initial drawings are sent to a licensed engineer or an architect. They're called the professional of record. And their job is to go over every single detail with a fine-tooth comb, checking for safety, accuracy, and code compliance. And yep, they traditionally marked up corrections in red ink.
And this is where the rules get super clear. The drafter's job is to accurately draw what they see, but the engineer or architect, their job is to take on the legal liability. They're the ones verifying that the design is safe and up to code. It's a professional duty called responsible charge.
And this is the moment it all becomes legally binding.
When that engineer or architect puts their professional seal and signature on those plans, they are making a legal statement. They are accepting full responsibility for the safety and integrity of that design. The buck officially stops with them.
So let's pull all these pieces together, because this isn't just a random set of rules to avoid mistakes, it's a really smart, collaborative system where every single person knows exactly what their role is.
And here's that whole workflow in action. The drafter documents what's visible. The contractor uses VIF to confirm what's hidden. The engineer signs off on the safety and legality of it all. See how each step builds on the last? It creates this chain of accountability that protects the project from start to finish. So what should you take away for your own project? First, remember that initial drawings are just for what you can see. Second, VIF is your safety net for everything else. And third, that professional seal is your ultimate guarantee of safety and legality. The whole system is about checks, balances, and shared accountability. It's your best defense against a renovation disaster.
So that's the final question you should be asking. Because a successful renovation isn't just about a beautiful design on paper. It's about having a smart, robust process for building that design in the real world. That is the real power of a blueprint built for collaboration.